Hello, this is Sophia. In this video, I'm going to give you a few suggestions and show you how to create a custom card to give to someone. And here's a few more examples of custom cards that I've made for certain people. And I'll include the time lapses of me painting these cards at the end of this video. So the first step is to think about what that person likes to do, their hobbies, where they like to go, what they like to look at, just something personal about that person. Next, I suggest going online or looking through books to get some inspiration and some reference photos. Then once you're ready, you'll want to gather all your supplies. So I'm going to be using watercolor. So I'll need my watercolor paper, pencil and eraser, my paint brushes, my watercolor, a glass of water, and some paper towels. So you want to get a piece of paper that when you fold it in half, it looks like about the right size for a card. So I'm gonna line up the edges very carefully and try to be as precise as possible. And then I'm gonna hold down the edge with one hand, and with the other hand, I'm gonna bring my thumb down to the middle of the crease and then push it to either side. And then I'm just checking that the edges are still all lined up nice and evenly and that there's not much overlap. Then I'm gonna take a hard object of any sort. I'm using the back of a scissors and then just pressing down on the crease to get it nice and firm. Then you can start sketching out your design. So I'm gonna do a golfing design. The person that I'm giving this to is very big into golfing. So I'm gonna do kind of a ball on a tee. So I'm just taking any round object and tracing it. And if you also want to do a golf themed card, you're welcome to follow along. But remember, you can do whatever design you think the person that you're giving the card to will like. So you can just watch this as an example if you like, or follow along. So in this image, I'm going to do a hill in the background and then a little flagpole. If you want to add writing to your card, I highly suggest taking anything with a straight edge and tracing a line onto it so that you can make sure that your writing is straight and even across. So I'm just lining up the edge of this, so I'm making sure that it's parallel and straight. Then I'm just gonna add a silly golf pun. So if the person that you're giving the card to, you think they will like a pun, then I would suggest just looking up some puns that are related to the theme of your card. And don't be afraid to erase and restart if you don't like how your writing turned out. I'm gonna redo my line there so it's still straight. And I'm just taking my time and making my lettering look even and neat. And I decided to change it again and do some cursive instead. And if you want, you can definitely practice your writing on a separate piece of paper first. And I would definitely use pencil. And now I'm gonna start painting. So you're welcome to follow along if you want, or if you're doing your own design, then you can just skip ahead. So I'm going to do some grass in the foreground. Foreground meaning right up close to us. And I'm going to do like 3 or 4 layers of the grass to make it look thick. And I'm just doing a bunch of lines going in every direction and every size. But I'm going to take a different color and do that same thing again. And I'm going to fill in the hill in the background in kind of a soft light green. And as you can see, I'm not going all the way to the edge of the paper. I just like that effect. If you want it to go all the way to the edge, that's totally fine. That's called a bleed. Another option is you can put tape around the edge, and then when you peel it off, you have a clean border. So there's many different options. Now I'm just using kind of a brown tone and going over the grass a little bit to give it a few different layers. Then I'm just going to do some trees along the hillside, so I'm just going to do some branches first. Then I'm going to dip into my yellow ochre, which is kind of a yellowish brownish color. And then I'm just dabbing on the color, so I'm just kind of doing dots. And forming the ridge line of the trees. Then I'm taking a darker green and I'm doing some more dots at the base. And I accidentally smeared it. So to erase that, I'm just going to get a clean paintbrush and then dab some water over that area and then take a paper towel and pick up the rest of the color. And it might take a couple of times to get all of it off. But that's the magic about watercolors, you can kind of erase. And I'm going to carefully paint in my T with a bright red. Go over the grass one more time. I'm going to do a super light wash of blue for the sky. Then I'm gonna do some little dots on the golf ball to make it look like the little divots. I'm going to paint my flag that same bright color of red. And then once I make sure that the trees have dried, I'm going to go over the branches one more time. And now it's time for the writing. So I'm going to take a super thin brush and go over it very carefully. But you can also use marker or pen or crayon or whatever other medium you want to. And then for the finishing touch, I'm just going to outline some things using a Micron pen. Then once I've made sure my watercolor is completely dry and won't smudge, I'm gonna erase all of the pencil lines from underneath. So now I'm just going to give a few more examples of some custom cards that I've done. So again, I'm going to take my ruler and make some straight lines for the writing. and add a pun related to the image, and then just sketch it out. So I chose a bunny because the person I'm giving this to is obsessed with bunnies, so I thought she would like it. And then after looking up a few reference images, I chose what I wanted to draw. Then I redid the writing a couple times until it looked nice and neat. Then once I finished sketching it out, I painted it using gouache. So now for the next card, the person I'm giving this to really loves mountain biking, so I decided to do a scene with a mountain bike in it. So again, just thinking about something personal, something that the person really loves to do. Then I also used gouache for this card. I hope that you enjoyed this and that you learned something useful from this tutorial and that you make some beautiful cards for your friends and family. Thank you for watching.